Well, welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Bald Brad Show. We got a lot of news to cover, and hopefully all of you can hear me over at YouTube and Rumble. Let me know. Yeah, we got the audio going, baby. We can hear you loud and clear, Brad. Thank you so much, Patriots. We did get the computer back. The CPU was, in fact, burned out. So we got that all figured out. As you can see, the lights are a little bit different because, well, we're still trying to figure everything out here. So when you had everything set up for years, well, you got to figure it out. Speaking of everything set up for years, we got Joe Biden dropping a little bit of a bombshell yesterday, pardoning Hunter Biden. And we're going to break all of that down for you because I think there's something bigger than that going on. And I'll explain why in just one moment. We also have Kash Patel being selected, nominated as the FBI director. Folks, that is a bombshell. That is big. That is what we want here as Patriots. This is what we've been asking for. Let me tell you, this is just as good as having RFK as the FBI director. And we're going to break it down for you. We got Donald Trump coming in and putting in tariffs. 25%. Oh, you don't like that? Here's 100%. We got it all, baby. I'm telling you, we got a hell of a show, and I couldn't be happier than to spend this fine morning with you great Patriots. If you can help us out, hit that like button. It does support us greatly. And Eric's already coming out of the woodworks with the $5. Good morning, Patriot family. Thank you so much, Eric, with the $5 over at YouTube. Greatly appreciated. You help us keep the lights on here. Well, let's jump right into it, folks. We got Joey. We got Joey. And we got a lot here with Joe. I mean, this is a great photo, is it not? Daddy, help me. I didn't pay millions in taxes. I snorted crack cocaine off a prostitute's ass. They got it all. Daddy. Well, Joe Biden announced yesterday that he signed a pardon for his son, Hunter Biden, despite repeated denials that he would ever do so. The guy is a chronic liar. And you know what? He's so far gone. Joe is so far gone that, quite frankly, he might not actually remember that he even ever said that. I'm not even so sure if he remembers that Hunter Biden is his son as of today. We don't know. Joe doesn't know. The pardon was issued before Hunter Biden, 54, was expected to be sentenced for gun and tax evasion crimes later in December. I think specifically December 16th, this guy was supposed to go away for a long time. He was facing the potential for prison time, like 17 years prison time. Quote, no responsible person who looks at the facts of Hunter Biden's cases can reach any other conclusion that Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. Well, that's weird because these have been going on for quite some time, Joe, meaning these cases that you call them. And what I find fascinating is, why didn't you have this language before? All of a sudden, it's just, oh, well, it's that they're singling him out because he's my son. Well, then why didn't you pardon him before then? Why are you waiting till now? Why are you doing it on a Sunday, which is weird? Why are you doing it on a Sunday, Joe, when you know that everybody's going to be talking about this come Monday morning because that's when the news cycle kind of kicks off? Which is why I think there's something deeper and potentially more nefarious going on behind the scenes. I promise we'll get to it on why I think that. C-SPAN statement from President Biden. Today, I signed a pardon on my son, which we're going to get to in one moment because these dates are key. Oh boy, are they key. Well, you might recall this lady here. Her name's Karine Jean-Pierre. She's the White House press secretary, which here on the Bald Brad Show, for those that are new viewers, we cover almost every single White House press briefing, so much so that let's just say there's reporters in the room that know who we are, Patriots, let's just say. And I was talking to some of them last night because I said to them behind the scenes in the DMs, this is going to be wild. This press briefing, if it happens, is going to be one of the biggest press briefings we've had in 4 years. I said it's up there with when she lied 5 times to the White House press corps regarding the classified documents that she had no idea. It was one of the greatest sagas we've ever had here on the show. It was a week-long entertainment of every day coming in and calling her out for her lying. Well, here she is. Here she is, and I can't wait.
Second one, would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Okay. We go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Second one, would the president...
Well, that didn't age well. It's no. It's going to be no. It's going to stay as no. Well, no, Karine, it didn't. Because he pardoned him. And as I mentioned, anyone looking forward to the press course, Karine Jean-Pierre clash and Hunter's pardon will have to wait. So here we all are. We're all antsy going, okay, like, how's she going to get out of this one? She probably didn't sleep well last night. Well, no, she doesn't have to worry about this, you guys. Why? Because, there is no White House press briefing for like days, potentially none even this week. Anyone might be anticipating a clash between White House Press Secretary Corps and White House Press Secretary herself is likely going to have to wait at least a few days while Biden travels to Angola. Now, I find it very odd and strategic that to do this on a Sunday, if anybody finds it like can't understand that, it's because normally you'd want to do this maybe on a Friday, do it as a news dump, and then you have the entire weekend for something else to kind of, overshadow it. Well, here they're releasing it on Sunday. He goes on a travel, no press briefing whatsoever, not even a gaggle, meaning a gaggle. She could sit there and do this on Air Force One and talk to the press and take their questions via audio. I don't even think we're getting that. As soon as the news broke that President Joe Biden had issued a blanket pardon for his son, who was convicted on several felony charges and was still awaiting sentencing, many predicted an inevitable dust-up between reporters and Jean-Pierre. I mean, what they're really talking about here is the clash between Peter Doocy and Karine Jean-Pierre that everybody wants to see. Or potentially, you could have Philip Wegman, the other gladiator in the room, going out and duking it against Karine Jean-Pierre because she lied to Philip Wegman as well. Philip Wegman asked the same question as all the other reporters did. And Philip Wegman is from Real Clear Politics. He's our boy here. And he asked the same question. Hey, are you going to end up pardoning? Is he going to end up pardoning his son? No. Like, how do you feel when you get lied to every single day? Probably very frustrated. And she's been doing a lot of it. Many predicted an inevitable dust-up between her and the reporters. Well, you got this. You got Kirk here. Rewind to Jackie Heinrich from less than a month ago. Well, let's see what her question was with Karine Jean-Pierre, because this is a potential matchup between Fox News and the White House.
Just to follow up on the pardon question, is a commutation also still off the table?
For who are you talking about? Oh, no. I mean, that's not what we're going to do.
So you had said on Air Force One that the president would not consider a commutation of his sentence.
Yeah,
you're saying that still stands? Okay, great.
Still stands. Oh, okay. Folks, this was weeks ago. To put it in perspective, this was less than a month ago that this happened. Really? Just all of a sudden, did he just wake up one morning? Maybe he did. That's the crazy thing is we don't know. He's so far gone. We actually don't know what the hell's going on up here. And quite frankly, I don't think either does Joe. I bring this up because look what he did with Afghanistan. That's not just something he just woke up one day and goes, let's pull out of Afghanistan. No plan. Billions of dollars of military-grade equipment left to the Taliban that sat there and freaking ran a whole parade and shoved it in our faces. Quite frankly, he could have seriously woke up Sunday and go, I think I'm going to pardon my son. And everyone's crapping their pants along with Joe. Now it's just a big duty fest in the White House. So everybody wants to see this matchup right here. This is the matchup everybody wants to see. Oh, yeah. When someone asked whether Karine Jean-Pierre was dreading the inevitable flood of questions, well, Jackie Heinrich pointed out the fact of, well, there is no press briefing for a few days. Biden issued a pardon before jetting to Angola late tonight. Karine Jean-Pierre will take questions on Air Force One en route, but off camera. The reason why that's huge, so I guess she is going to do a gaggle, we'll actually see, is because nobody watches those. Because you have to filter through audio. The audio is crap, quite frankly, which is why I don't cover it, because you have the jet engines in the back, right? The sound of the everything. It's just, it's not good. People want to see camera. They want to see visuals. And I bring this up because during the Biden family corruption scandal, whether that was the Hunter Biden laptop that she was being questioned on, or it was the money coming from China, Romania, or Ukraine into the Biden family bank accounts, which we'll get to in one moment, or it was the classified documents scandal. I mean, you name it, she was sitting there lying about it, and they would not bring Ian Sams. They wouldn't bring the whoever spokesperson should have been up there, whether it was the DOJ, the FBI, hell, whoever it needs to be on the podium. They would not do it. And they go, oh, well, you could talk to them on the phone. Well, they're going, no, we don't want to talk to anybody on the phone. And by they, I mean the White House press corps. They go, we want them on TV because we want the American public to see it, because they know the American public isn't getting the channels on the phone. They know they're not going to watch the gaggle, the audio. But it looks like we're going to have to filter it out ourselves, folks. Looks like we're going to be tuning in. So I showed you that stuff of her lying. I mean, it's just endless. People calling her out. Just endless. Look at it, November 7th. Friggin' ladies. They're all corrupt. They're all corrupt, which is why we need Joey back in office. And then they couldn't wrap their head around stuff. They could not figure out why we sat there and voted for Donald Trump. They couldn't figure it out. Their minds are blown that we want Kash Patel as the FBI director. Oh, we'll get to it. They just can't figure it out. So here's Joe Walsh, turns on Joe Biden after he pardoned Hunter Biden, says he is deflated because he spent years saying Trump was the threat. Quote, the pardon is just deflating for those of us who've been out there for a few years yelling about what a threat Trump is. Oh, now they wake up. Now these people wake up.
All of this, what is likely to be the response on Capitol Hill to this breaking news?
Good to be with you. See, I told you so. They're all like that. So the next time any of us complain about anything Trump does, this pardon is just deflating. For those of us who have been out there for a few years now yelling about what a unique threat Donald Trump is, for Joe Biden to do something like this, Trump, nobody's above the law, we've been screaming. Well, Joe Biden just made clear his son Hunter is above the law. Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth, we've been screaming. Joe Biden repeatedly lied about this. The politicization of the justice system. Donald Trump and his people have been screaming. Well, that's exactly what Biden said here.
Joe, is this a politics of purity? I mean, we had Donald Trump pardon Sheriff Joe Arpaio during his term, and there wasn't a lot of hue and
you can't even sit there and try to do an analogy on that one. Talk about twisting a pretzel.
Cry about that. And this is a father who saw his first wife killed, his daughter killed in a car accident.
What does that have to do with anything? You see how they always take in the emotional appeal. Is this a guy that sat there and had his thumb up his butt for years and drove this country into the ground? Should we feel bad for this guy? Should we sit there and question maybe the history that he's been through with terrible family problems?
Purity. I mean, we had Donald Trump pardon Sheriff Joe Arpaio during his term, and there wasn't a lot of hue and cry about that. And this is a father who saw his first wife killed, his daughter killed in a car crash, his two young sons survive. One goes on to have real difficulties with addiction. Another dies because of cancer. This is a family that's really troubled. I mean, yes, he said he wasn't going to do this, but did anyone ever believe that that was the case? I mean, I would have put good money on this happening. Are many people going to be surprised that a father who is also the president would do this for his son?
No, we're not surprised. But when the mainstream media, who you just saw, the legacy media, MSNBC, ABC, CNN, whatever you want to talk about in terms of these media outlets, have sat there and paraded that we're a threat to democracy. We're the liars. We're the conspiracy theorists. We literally had a video taken down being called a conspiracy theorist here on the show because I sat there and read Joe Biden's words. I read his words about January 6th. And now we're supposed to just let him go on this. We're supposed to, yeah, Joey's a liar. Yeah, we all know it. And well, we're not supposed to talk about it. We're supposed to shut up. Are you really surprised? No, we're not surprised. But we sure in hell love for the media to call out his bogus lies and everything that you create in terms of the Russia hoax. Yeah, we love a little bit of redemption. And the fact that, again, that he lied. I mean, here he is on camera doing it.
As we sit here in Normandy, your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
As we sit here in Normandy.
I never said that. I never said it. I never said that. Sure you didn't, Joe. Sure you didn't. Now, we'll get to the statement itself, but let's do a little bit of going down memory lane for a moment here. Because Hunter Biden had some serious corruption, which we did an entire hour-long episode talking about Burisma Holdings, talking about Shokin, talking about Ukraine and the corruption that's going on in the country. Well, folks, if you recall, Burisma Holdings, that was founded in the early 2000s, about 2002. There was this Ukrainian oligarch, and I think his name is Lochkevsky, something like that, and was one of Ukraine's largest natural gas producers, not just in the country, but like in the world. And the company had been embroiled in all these different corruption allegations. And it was particularly, and I want you to hear about this and zoom in, particularly concerning its business practices and political connections. Now, in early 2012, this Ukrainian prosecutor named Fasonka initiated investigations into this dude, the Zholovetsky guy, for alleged money laundering and tax evasion. God, that sounds really familiar. Laundering, tax evasion. Who also sounds like that? Allegedly Hunter Biden. And corruption during his tenure of Ministry of Ecology and Natural Resources. These probes focus specifically on how Burisma obtained its gas exploration licenses, folks. Now, hold with me here because this started in 2012. Now, the United Kingdom came in and goes, that's a little weird. And their ears started perking up a little bit. So in April of 2014, the UK's Serious Fraud Office froze approximately $23 million in accounts linked to Zloviesky. I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but truthfully, I don't care. And then in January, about half a year later, they ended up releasing the funds because they had insufficient evidence. Insufficient, yeah. You don't just hold $23 million for like almost like a year and not have insufficient evidence. Ukrainian proceedings, then in late 2014, the dude fled. But don't worry, you guys, insufficient evidence. They had nothing on him. Yeah, this dude sat there and had the biggest natural gas company in like Ukraine. No corruption, but he fled Ukraine. Why? Because there was amidst an escalation of corruption allegations that was being placed against him. Well, in January 2015, he was placed on Ukraine's wanted list. Why would he be on a wanted list if the guy's fine? There's no crime. There's no laundering. There's no tax evasion. Again, hold on. This connects to Hunter. This connects to Hunter. Although some cases against him were closed in 2017, they were later reinstated, leading to ongoing legal challenges. Now, remember, the Ukraine proceedings took place when? 2014. Everybody hold on to that date. Please hold on to 2014, because when I get to Joe Biden's pardon, your BS meter should go through the roof. What else happened in 2014? April 2014, Hunter Biden, son of then U.S. Vice President Joe Biden, joined What did he join? Oh, that's right, Burisma Holdings, the board of directors. Hunter, who didn't know jack bleep about natural gas, somehow just gets escalated to board of directors of a natural gas company that's embroiled with tax evasion, money laundering, corruption. So much so that other countries were looking into it, not just Ukrainian prosecutor Shokin, which we'll get to. And you want to know how much Joey was getting paid? 10% allegedly. Remember, he's the big guy. How much was Hunter getting paid a month? You guys want to know how much a month? $80,000 a month. But don't worry, he was just there to assist the governance and international expansion of Burisma Holdings. Why is that a big deal? Why is it a big deal that he was specifically put on the board with his other business partner named Devin Archer of a natural gas company that had been known for all this corruption and money laundering and tax evasion? Why was he put on the board while his father was the vice president? Well, because again, it was all about international expansion. And this appointment raised concerns about politically having conflicts of interest with his father and the role of his father into U.S.-Ukraine relations. Now, Biden in 2015 urged Ukraine, y'all remember this, on camera, to dismiss prosecutor General Shokin, threatening to withhold $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees. Y'all remember that one? Nothing happened to Joe. And it's on camera. Nothing happened, Joe. We showed it multiple times. Everybody showed it. Donald Trump has a phone call with Zelensky, and they sit there and put full form impeachment on the table for the guy. Joe Biden does this stuff on camera. No problem. No problem. The U.S. and other Western entities criticize Shokin for not aggressively pursuing corruption cases, including those involving Burisma. Shokin's removal in March 2016 led to the speculation that it was intended to protect Burisma and Hunter Biden. Yeah, I would think so. It's weird how the UK aspect of them withholding $23 million all of a sudden just went out the window, and then the dude flees from Ukraine because of all the corruption, because probably his ass was about to be thrown in the brig. However, multiple sources indicate that the Burisma investigation was dormant at the time of Shokin's dismissal, which is BS. Don't give me this. The timing's too good. Don't tell me it just lines up perfectly. Now, remember the bribery allegations in 2020? An FBI informant claimed that the original guy of the Burisma Holdings that fled, that was doing all these tax evasion and money laundering allegedly, had been coerced into paying, paying 5 million bribes to both Hunter Biden and another Biden. We don't know who, to ensure Shokin's firing. I'm going to reread that because, again, this all started in 2014. You need to hold on to that date, and goes through present day. In June of 2020, an FBI informant claimed that the individual who was like the number one guy in Burisma Holdings had been coerced into paying $5 million in bribes to both Hunter Biden and another Biden to ensure Shokin's firing. Again, Shokin was the one looking into Burisma Holdings, and that was looking into the corruption in the Ukrainian governance of how all this stuff was taking place. So that Zholevetsky guy allegedly possessed recordings supporting the claim. He had the evidence. He had the goods. However, in February 2024, this year, the informant was indicted for fabricating this account, and prosecutors revealed he had received false information from Russian intelligence officials. It's amazing how all this stuff keeps slipping through everybody's fingers, right? It's amazing how all this stuff just takes place consistently. Not once, not twice. Just odd. And we're all supposed to turn like a cheek to it. Like, oh, yeah, nothing weird here. Really? Really? A freaking decade of just slipping through the fingers? So what was the legal proceedings all about? Well, in August of 2023, the High Anti-Corruption Court of Ukraine fined that dude 68,000 Ukrainian dollars, which is about $1,800, as part of a plea agreement in a bribery case. I mean, folks, this is just one piece of the pie. The case involved a $6 million bribe offered to a close criminal proceeding against Burisma. So they let him away. Let him away, go free. Go free. Now, this plays into everything because if you recall, Hunter Biden, son of President Joe Biden, was involved in a federal tax evasion case concerning his failure to pay approximately $1.4 million in taxes between 2016 and 2019. Starting in 2014, though, folks. In December 2023, he was indicted on 9 tax-related charges, including 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors. Just 2 months ago, 3 months ago, September 5th to be exact, Hunter Biden pleaded guilty to all 9. In Los Angeles federal court, this unexpected plea came just as jury selection for his trial was about to begin. The charges encompass tax evasion and filing false tax returns. Now you'd be like, well, Brad, he sat there, like, what's the big deal? He sat there and did all his things. Like he pleaded guilty. Well, folks, if you recall, there was more stuff going on than that. There was way more stuff going on than that. Remember the whole David Weiss thing? Of how allegedly David Weiss was sitting there going after him? And then you had the Attorney General Merrick Garland telling him, hey, you know what? You can't do your full duty. I'm not going to let you do your full duty. And then the word came out that happened, and Merrick Garland goes, well, no, I'm allowing him to prosecute Hunter. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. And then David Weiss later came out going, yeah, no, nobody held me back. Well, then why'd you say it before? Why'd you say that you weren't allowed to go after Hunter Biden allegedly? Why was there IRS whistleblowers that came out saying that the DOJ was basically doing a slow foot here, a slow walk of going after Hunter, meaning Hunter slipping through the cracks again, and people found out about it. Very similar to what we saw in the United Kingdom. Very similar to what we saw going on in Ukraine. Very similar to what's going on here in the United States. It's amazing. Remember, we're supposed to turn a blind eye to all this, you guys. We're not supposed to look under the hood. We're not supposed to ask questions, because if we do, we're conspiracy theorists. If we do, we get our videos taken down off YouTube. If we do, we're told to shut up. And we're not having it, because there's a lot of weird stuff. Like the whole idea of, y'all remember this during COVID, of why did Hunter Biden have business dealings in a specific province of China where Joe Biden took our oil reserve, our gas reserve that's supposed to go for, I don't know, natural disasters so that we're able to fuel our trucks and clean up and help people? Why did he send like 1 million barrels to that province of China and make that type of business dealing, of which allegedly Hunter Biden had business dealings in that specific province as well? Really weird. Really weird. Hey, where's all this money coming from Ukraine, Romania, Russia, China? Really weird how nobody wants to look under the hood. Like $30 million under the hood. Just from China, by the way. Allegedly, nobody wants to look into this. No, nothing to see here, folks. No big deal. Just the Biden family corruption. So I bring that up. Because you have that whole thing. And I want to see if we can get to it here. I want to try to find the original piece. Here we go. My computer doesn't want to blow up on me. So we have the announcement here. Today, I signed a pardon for my son Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere. And we'll do this one. We would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision making, and I kept my word. Even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Well, this has been looking under since you were vice president, dude. Was it unfair then? Was it unfair, the fact that you sat there and used the entire Justice Department to go after Donald Trump? I think so. Without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filed out a gun form. Well, Joe, how about all that alleged tax evasion? The fact that some of the stuff originally started looking at money laundering and the corruption that was going on in Hunter Biden. This is all smoke and mirrors. Folks, remember, the original case was looking into where Hunter was getting all this money from. And then somehow it just changed into tax evasion. They let go the entire original investigative purpose of looking into Hunter Biden, of what was going on with all this corruption. And then they sat there and go, oh, let's just shift it to tax evasion, and then we'll just have him pardon his son later on. It's fine. He was never going to go to jail. Come on. We all knew that. Those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions, oh, fuck. But paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties are typically given no criminal resolutions. It is clear that Hunter was treated differently. Oh, yes, he was, Joe. You are correct, good sir. Yes, he was treated very differently. Very differently. Matter of fact, everybody seems to be treated differently when it comes to Burisma Holdings. When it comes to being a business partner of the Biden family, like Devin Archer, who said that he went golfing with you and had dinners with you in the Oval Office, but you said you never met the guy before, that you never even had any sort of conversation with business dealings surrounding Burisma Holdings, energy, weather, anything. But then why is the business partner that was actually on the board of Burisma Holdings before Hunter ever was, why is he coming out and saying all these things about you, Joe? What does he have to gain in all this? The charges in his cases came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress investigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Oh, gotcha. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed by the Department of Justice. Oh, yeah, it was definitely carefully negotiated. That's for damn sure. Unraveled in the courtroom with a number of my political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. Had the plea deal held, it would have been a fair, reasonable resolution of Hunter's cases. Well, no, it was held because it seemed a little bit odd, Joe. Everybody's going, why are you giving this guy this type of plea deal when a lot of people wouldn't be given this plea deal? And just because your son is your son, he gets it and nobody else really does? That's a little weird. And why is it everybody sits there and slips through the fingers of all these government agencies, starting from the United Kingdom to Ukraine to Russia to now the United States, and it all revolves around your son, Joe? Everybody finds that a little freaking odd. Just a little odd, Joey. So I want to point out a key date here, if I could find it. And the key date is talking about 2014, by the way. And that's so important because all this takes place around when? 2014. Folks, they don't just pull these dates out of there, you know what? You know what I mean? They don't pull this date here and go, well, you know, a decade sounds good. It's a nice round number. Joe doesn't know what a round number is. Joe doesn't know his mouth from his ass. A full and unconditional pardon for those offenses against the United States which has been committed or may have committed. This is what you need to zoom in on. Please, this is why this is such a big deal. It's not a bombshell. It's not a bombshell because Joe came out and pardoned his son. This is why it's a bombshell. I just connected everything, right? For those offenses against the United States, which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period. From when? From when? January 1st, 2014 through December 1st, 2024. The dude sat there and basically relieved Hunter Biden of being prosecuted for anything. This is why this is a bombshell. For anything committed since January 1st of 2014. Whatever this dude did, snorting cocaine off a dog's butt, prostitutes, you know what, doesn't matter. Whole Burisma Holdings thing is done. You will never have Hunter going down for this alleged tax evasion, for the alleged, money laundering from China, Romania, Ukraine. This dude was just given full pardon for an entire decades of alleged crimes. That is why it's such a big deal. I love this aspect of may have committed. What? May have committed? Well, he's your son, Joe. He's a good guy. Yeah. You told us so. Hey, he's had some slip up. He has addiction issues. That's okay. He's sitting there. Yeah, that's fine. Look, we all have demons. We all have demons, but not making $80,000 a month demons on a board of directors that you don't know jack bleep about. That's the bombshell. That one sentence says everything you need to know. So Hunter's been let go. Hunter is free. And it's just an odd date. It really is, you guys. An odd date, 2014, when Burisma Holdings, and he was put on the board of Burisma Holdings, which is when all this started for Hunter himself, not for Burisma Holdings. Remember, Burisma Holdings goes back to 2002. The 2012, that's when things start getting interesting because that's when the United Kingdom's ears started perking up around this whole thing. That's when Ukrainians' ears started perking up around this whole thing. And then Hunter starts getting involved in this. And it's weird that there was money laundering taking place with that original dude at Burisma Holdings. And then there was money laundering allegedly being investigated into Hunter Biden about this whole thing from Burisma Holdings. Well, then Hunter Biden gets tax evasion, but then tax evasion was also being looked into in Burisma Holdings going back to 2012. Nobody else finds the date a little odd, just a little odd. But remember, we're not supposed to look into this because we're conspiracy theorists, right? We're just pulling all of this out of our, The View hosts have they're saying a little bit of this. Well, they don't care about norms anymore. It's time for Joe to pardon Hunter. I go on vacation and all this stuff comes out. You know what I mean? You go on vacation, you have a good time, it's okay. And you come back, and this all takes place. So you have The View here. After calling Trump a threat to democracy, by the way, institutions and norms for nearly a decade, these hypocrites on The View now want President Joe Biden to pardon Hunter. These people here.
There's a much more serious pardon that many people are wondering about. And that is, people are wondering, should Biden pardon his son, Hunter? Or does that make him an even bigger target for you-know-who coming in? It's an interesting question, which I pose to you all.
So personally, I think I would pardon my child. I don't even have kids. I'd bury a body for my child. So I get it as a personal decision. I worry a little bit about the implications for the country. And I mean this, not because Hunter Biden affects the country, but because there's such a distrust in the powerful, the politically connected. There's this idea that there's a different system of justice. We just saw Donald Trump, his indictments go away because he's in power.
I'll be fair. She does make a great point. If it's your kid, what would you do? You'd probably pardon the guy. Look, I get it. I get it on Joe's side. I just find it. Why did he just come out and say it at the onset? That's what's like mind blowing. Why sit there and lie about it continuously? I think everybody would see it coming, including this. Well, I'll let her just speak for herself.
One of the issues that I have is when you look at the charges that Hunter Biden was indicted on, less than 0.09% of the population is are indicted on that charge. And so it's basically close to zero. So I actually think that the only reason he was indicted is because his last name is Biden. So if you look at it like that, right, if you look at it like that, then it is the right thing to do to correct course and correct that wrong and pardon his son. The other piece of this is Hunter Biden has acknowledged his addiction. He is an addict. And in the law, there are all sorts of ways to handle people that commit crimes because of their addiction. There are drug deferment programs. Crazy. And he should be someone that should be treated a bit differently because of the addiction. And I would support not only, I think, his pardon on the illegal gun application one, but the other one in California as well.
Because he had an addiction, we're supposed to look past all this. Yeah, the guy has an addiction to eating Cheez-Its off a prostitute's butt crack, but don't worry about it. Can't look at that. That's what an astonishing statement. Because he has an addiction, we should treat said individual differently because they have an addiction. What? You know what I mean? People have addictions that commit crimes all across the United States all the time. So why don't we just, everybody go commit a crime? I shouldn't even be saying that, but you understand what I mean. I'm being facetious. You commit a crime, you can say, well, I got an addiction. Sorry, I should be treated differently. It gets worse. Because then Sarah Haynes claims that Biden has been such a great president. They just come out and they just say a bunch of silly things. Silly things. And nobody calls them out on it, other than really us and a few other channels, maybe a lot more. I don't know.
This time with all the losing, the having to hand it off, the way everything's gone, that I just feel like this would be the one thing I would wish for him, that he could just say, you know what, I'm out, and so is Hunter. You know what? I just wish he could do one thing.
They should also pardon those dogs that bit the Secret Service agents. Those dogs need to be pardoned.
Justice for Commander Biden. That I'm on board with.
And on that, we're going to go.
Thank God. Yeah, don't ever come back, please. So she claims Biden has been such a good president and just got a great raw deal in the election. He's earned a pardon for Hunter. Man, I don't know how you come out of that on top when you watch that show. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, hit that like button. Greatly appreciate all you patriots joining us. Again, we got the computer fixed, folks. We went on vacation for a week, which the timing worked out because I took the computer in Tuesday. I didn't get it back till really yesterday. And if you're curious what was wrong with it, well, there was something wrong with it. The CPU was fried. You could still run your computer on a CPU that's fried, but we got it back and it seems to be running pretty smoothly. So we were scrambling yesterday trying to get everything set up, but the lights aren't really working correctly. So we'll have to figure that out another time. But let's get into some other news here. That was going on with what the Hunter Biden pardon was. It's just so unbelievable to me. Here's the bombshell news as well. So the original person who I wanted to be the FBI director was RFK. And well, RFK isn't it. Okay. He's doing something else with Health and Human Services or whatever it is. But Kash Patel is the next FBI director. Everybody hold on. This is good news. I can't tell you how big of a deal this is for me. This is up there with RFK. The deep state is crapping their pants over this. And I'm like, folks, I'm not exaggerating this. I'm not being extremist. This is huge. It's huge. I'm going to show you why this is huge. President-elect Donald Trump announced on Saturday evening that he has nominated Kash Patel, baby, to be the next director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. You're about to see a lot of people fired. You're about to see a whole different FBI, man, if this guy follows through on his word. It was stated that Kash is a brilliant lawyer. True. This dude sat there and was the prosecutor for Benghazi. And if you want to know the bleep storm that took place, you got to listen to Sean Ryan's podcast with Kash Patel here, because this guy will tell you some things that you've never heard of before. This guy read the JFK files. All of them. All of it. This guy has seen. The 9/11 files that you haven't seen. Guess who else has read all of it? This guy right here. This guy knows so much corruption, it'll make your head spin. And he's going to come out with a lot of stuff here. Who currently holds all the power on the Jeffrey Epstein list coming out? I'm going to say that again because I'm curious. Who currently in the United States government holds all the power on whether or not the Jeffrey Epstein list can be revealed? If you're thinking about the FBI director for Christopher Wray having all that power, ding, 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 you are correct. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. And guess who's about to be the next FBI director? Kash Patel, baby. Folks, if we get some UFO stuff coming out, I'll be happy. If we get the Epstein list coming out, you're going to see. This is why the deep state is scared. This is why the celebrities are leaving the country. This is why everybody is crapping their pants right now. Because this guy has the balls, I think. I think Kash is going to be cashing out with a lot of details. The JFK. I'm sure RFK Jr. would love to know. I think he's read the files a little bit. Kash is an incredible lawyer during my first term, where he served as the chief of staff at the Department of Defense, deputy director of national intelligence, senior director of counterterrorism at the National Security Council. And what's the media saying? Oh, he's not qualified. Oh, the guy hasn't done anything. What does he know? The guy sat there and has done a lot for this country. He's also tried over 60 jury trials, by the way. Trump said that Patel will lead the FBI in putting an end to the growing crime epidemic in America and dismantle the migrant criminal gangs and stop the evil scourge of human and drug trafficking across the border. Oh, it's going to be more than that, my friend. Oh, Donald. It's going to be way more than that. Do you notice everybody that Donald Trump's putting forward isn't part of the deep state. Dude, I don't want to say they're average Joe Americans. That's not what I want to say, because Marco Rubio, you know, somebody could claim that he's part of the deep state. Everybody's putting forward is people that could sit there and just start firing massive amount of people. You got DOGE, right? The Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk and the great Vivek. Yeah, you're gonna see firings like you've never seen before. You thought The Apprentice was bad. You're fired. You're fired. Everybody at the table, you're fired. Go on, get out. Leave the McDonald's. Don't you touch that damn fry. That's mine. So here's Kash Patel. I'll let it just do itself because I've already commented on it. But here he is with Glenn Beck.
I never believed that the CIA killed Kennedy.
No. You're talking to a guy that's read the entire JFK file.
You've seen all the secret stuff?
I've seen all of that, and I've seen the 7 pages of the 9/11 report. I've seen it all.
You don't say that to people that you can't tell what you saw.
Folks, this guy has been around. This guy has seen a two-tier justice system be thrown in his own face. This guy was being investigated without him even knowing. I think it might have been even the FBI. It was some sort of intelligence apparatus, maybe even the DOJ, sat there and looked into this guy without him even knowing. And 5 years later, Google comes out and says, oh, hey, by the way, we can let you know that you're investigated. They went after this guy. So this guy's not, he is not like the deep state. This is a guy that was sitting there trying to put terrorists behind bars for the Hillary Clinton debacle that took place in Benghazi. And what did our own government say? Yeah, just prosecute one guy. He wanted to go after 16 of the 19 guys. And they go, it's just politically more powerful just to get one of them. Don't worry about it. So what did he say? What did Kash say? He goes, they won't let me prosecute all these terrorists. The United States government would not let him prosecute the terrorists that sat there and killed 4 American citizens. And you want to know the guy that they did get? Loose cannon. Nothing really to go along with. Like what? How do I put this in a way that makes sense? Didn't really have much to do with Benghazi. That's the guy they went after. The other guys are fine. Other guys that were prosecuted are coming out soon. I think this year, actually. They're going to see the light of day again. Because our government has been corrupt for quite some time, and we're all tired of it. And then again, people can't understand why we all voted for Donald Trump. This is why I wanted this in 2016, by the way. This is what I wanted to see in 2016, was this type of selection. And it just shows you Donald Trump's learned. He's learned. And I hope that we get everything that we wish for. It's leaning that direction, but I don't know. I don't want to put all my trust in the people.
Scenes.
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a Black Book.
But the Black Book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the Black Book.
Folks, we're not done with this clip yet. That Black Book is the Epstein list. And this dude's like, hey, yeah, you know, the FBI director has control over that Black Book. I think Donald Trump on day one should just release it. Well, guess who on day one could potentially be the FBI director? The dude that's saying on day one that Donald Trump should release it.
And not just that. On day one, roll out all of the text messaging communications we were told were deleted. On day one, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber. On day, one of the reforms I talk about in Government Gangsters is you need a central node to be continuously declassifying. This is another thing they do. They overclassify. And I'm telling you, as a former number 2 in the IC, they overclassify 50% of the stuff there to protect the deep state. Oh, no, you can't see that. Nothing to see here. Gina was a master at it, of doing it. And we still haven't seen half of the Russiagate report that we wrote. Still under lock and key on how the ICA was originally constructed. We put 10,000 man hours against John Brennan's team that did it. And we found out why they came up with their bogus conclusions. But we couldn't sell it to the world because we couldn't talk about it. And the government gangsters came in and buried it. All of these things, there needs to be a continuing central power, whether it's the White House or offsite, that says every request that comes in, just right out the door, as long as it's not a major threat to national security.
I don't think I could put in the words how excited I am for this pick. I'm more. I mean, you guys saw how excited I was for Doge, for Elon and Vivek to be teamed up together to start, taking stuff a little bit serious, because I'm tired of people spending all our tax dollars on frivolous crap. A $20,000 toilet seat or $85,000 for a bag of nuts. That one's not an exaggeration on either of those, by the way. I'm tired of people spending our money because it's not their money that they're spending. It's all of our money. It's sending $60 billion here. Oh, here's China. Here's $100 million. No big deal. We want you to sit there and test to see if dogs are gay. That's a real thing, by the way. I'm more excited. This is the greatest pick I could have wanted. And I hope Kash doesn't fail me here. He might. But there's some big stuff coming out. And here's CNN talking about it.
With you and just get your reaction to this news tonight.
Yeah, well, it's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI and also for the nation that depends on a highly functioning, professional, independent Federal Bureau of Investigation. The fact that Kash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job is not even like a matter for debate. So I think what we should really be thinking about right now is, what does this signal in terms of Donald Trump's intent for the FBI? The installation, or the nomination, I guess we should say at this point, of Kash Patel as FBI director can only possibly be a plan to disrupt, to dismantle, to distract the FBI, and to possibly use it as a tool for the president's political agenda.
I mean, partially that's true, yes, to disrupt, to dismantle an entire organization that has been corrupted, that is ran by the industrial machine, the war complex, the whatever you want to call it, the deep state. It's too vague, but it gets the job done in terms of describing what the FBI is and this whole military industrial complex that's been taking place. Yeah, it needs to be dismantled. That's why I'm calling it the Great Reset, the Trump reset, baby, the golden Renaissance era.
And, as an organization, we know what that.
By the way, this is Andrew McCabe. The guy's done that job.
Looks like. This country has been there before, right? The pre-Watergate FBI, the J. Edgar Hoover FBI, struck fear in the hearts of Americans across the spectrum of politicians, people in entertainment, people in the civil rights community, because the director operated at the direction of presidents to collect political intelligence and to utilize the legal authorities, the investigative authorities of the FBI to terrorize and intimidate Americans. So the question is that where we're going back to with this nomination? I would argue that Kash Patel would be the perfect person for Donald Trump to nominate if that's in fact his intent for the FBI.
Well, we actually know his intent for the FBI because he talked about it. And his intent for the FBI was to sit there and get rid of basically anything and everything that had to do with it. So he was on the Sean Ryan podcast, and he actually talked about what he was going to do if, somebody was going to be the FBI director. And so he came out and was basically saying, oh, well, whoever on day one's there, we got to basically get rid of everybody. So here he is.
Intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening it the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you Intel shops? I'd break.
And allegedly, this guy's pretty close to Vivek as well. I think they were good friends. Well, he wanted to sit there and dismantle the FBI. So I think you're going to see some mega changes here coming up in the next few weeks. And this is what we needed, folks. This is what we needed. Finally, I feel for the first time in my life that things are shifting back to the way that they were supposed to be. Somehow, I don't know what happened, but around 2016, we stepped on a butterfly and we entered into a different alternate universe, man. Because everything had been asked backwards for so long. And then finally, somebody stepped onto the butterfly. I don't know what happened. Donald Trump gets elected again. Thank you, baby. And we're getting all these great picks. RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. I mean, the list goes on of what we got here. You got people leading the brigade that aren't part of the deep state. I'm sure you could probably make a case for a few of them, for sure. But you got Ian Miller up there for us that's going to sit there and speak on behalf of the American. All these people are going to speak on behalf of the American people. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely. And I'll be pissed if I am. If stuff doesn't start getting done, I got no qualms coming out. I'm not beholden to Donald Trump. I love the guy, right? I mean, I haven't been outspoken for. I've voted for the guy 3 times now. But that doesn't mean I'm beholden to him. If he does something I don't like, then I'm going to call it out. But right now, I'm hoping that he comes out swinging here on day one. I want to see on January 20th, like after the inauguration, after we're celebrating, right? We're getting all drunk and having our cigars. Woo, look at that, freaking awesome. Donald Trump's back in office. It's going to be an event. January 20th can't come soon enough. I think on that first day, that first week, you're going to see some crazy stuff. It's going to be like that scene from Back to the Future when this baby hits 88 miles an hour. Marty, you're going to see some freaking shit. When people get in there, you're going to see some crazy stuff. And Ted Cruz knows it. No, Ted Cruz knows it. Kash Patel, a very strong nominee for FBI director. Yes, he is. Oh, well, he's not in a position to sit there and lead the FBI. That's coming from CNN, right? We just saw that from Andrew McCabe. Oh, well, he's not fit to be in there. Nobody that Donald Trump selects you guys think's going to be fit, right? They're going to be good enough. His picks are awesome. Nobody's bitching and complaining other than the media. You notice that? Can we pause for a moment? Can we talk about that whole thing? Does nobody find it odd that everybody here, for the most part, is pretty happy with the picks? I haven't heard a single conservative outlet complain. The only one maybe people are like up in the air on was Matt Gaetz, maybe. Other than that, I have not seen anybody complain about any of the picks on the conservative Republican side of the aisle. You want to know who's really complaining? The legacy media. What who's really complaining and shitting their pants? Hollywood. These elites. This, I don't know what you would call them. The bureaucrats in the deep state, I guess is a great way. It's weird how all those people are freaking out, right? Why is it not a single one of them are like, oh yeah, he's a good pick? Any of the picks, mind you, anybody in the deep state, legacy media, why are none of them going, yeah, it's actually a pretty good pick. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. That one's a good one. Why is it every single one they've said was bad? Really? Every single one? You guys don't have like a solid one to pick? Be like, yeah, that one makes sense. That one's actually a pretty good one. Not even Marco Rubio for Secretary of State? The guy that speaks on behalf of the American people all the time? Really? A little odd. I think Kash Patel is a very strong nominee, Cruz said. I think the entire slate of cabinet nominees President Trump has put forward is very strong. I agree. Yes, sir. I believe every one of these cabinet nominees is going to be confirmed by the Senate. They better. I think Kash Patel is going to be confirmed by the Senate. I hope so. Oh, God, can you imagine what's going to come out? Oh, please. I want to see it all. I want to see it all. I want the JFK stuff to come out. I want the 9/11 stuff to come out. I want the Benghazi stuff to come out. I want the freaking emails that Hillary Clinton allegedly used bleach spit on her server in her bathroom. I want all that to come out. I want everything. I want it all. There's no reason why this stuff should always be covered up. Oh, well, some people are still alive. Some people will be implicated. Probably, yeah. Probably some weird stuff is going to come out. The Epstein list. Can somebody explain this to me? Anybody, right? Anybody. How is it? What's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell. How is it that she's in prison for sex trafficking and stuff, but not a single person has been prosecuted and put behind bars that was a part of said sex trafficking and having sex with minors and stuff? Can somebody explain that to me? How that even happens? How do you throw somebody in prison for doing all these things with little girls and trafficking them and stuff like that, which is horrendous, but not a single person was implicated in said massive amount of global trafficking of young girls? Nobody finds that odd that we don't know jack anything about this? What? But you can't raise eyebrows. You can't raise eyebrows the fact that Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell looked like a freaking laundry mat with like 20 freaking jumpsuits just strewn out all around the floor. Nobody's supposed to bat an eye the fact that his neck was broken and people claimed it was a homicide rather than an actual suicide. Yeah, we can't ask questions. We can't ask questions that the surveillance cameras weren't working and the guards just miraculously fell asleep when somebody was on suicide watch. And when they were on suicide watch, they gave them all this stuff to sit there and commit suicide on suicide watch. But we're not supposed to ask questions. The fact that we haven't actually seen the list and nobody's been implicated from the actual sex trafficking that's been on a global scale for years and decades for that matter. We don't have anything in terms of actually who went to the island. We know nothing. That's very odd and weird. And I think that's why Americans have had enough, because we're the ones that are supposed to be controlling the show here. And lately, for a very long time, it's been the deep state. It's these bureaucrats that are sitting there covering up for who? I don't know. For what country? No clue. But you know what? I find it a little bit odd that Joe Biden sat there and got million more votes, millions, like 15 to 20 million more votes than any election in the last decade plus. And you want to know why I think that happened? Because of what the show started with. I think they have so much dirt on the Biden family that they know if they got this guy in office, that they can control him. Massive amount of illegal immigration. Terrorist porn across the border. Business dealings with China up the wazoo. Nothing's happened to China still for COVID. This whole thing going on with Russia, giving terrorists millions of our dollars, giving Iranians that want to sit there, the government, and want to sit there and wipe Western civilization off the face of the earth. They want to give them $10 billion and have given them hundreds of billions of dollars, lax sanctions and all these other things. There's people in our government that are not for this country, and now's the time to start firing people left and right. And I hate to say it because some of these people have families, but some of you got to be let go, man, because this has gone on way too long, and I think we're going to see some big change. I think we're going to be some freaking huge changes. With that being said, Patriots, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Potentially going to start doing an afternoon episode around 5:30 p.m. We'll see if it happens or not. If not, probably in the new year. But who knows? Maybe I might get a little, spark up my tushy and start doing those a little bit more. And I hope you appreciated a little bit more in-depth information on some of these news articles going back to 2002 with Burisma Holdings, and kind of giving you a little bit more information than probably I normally do because it's normally reactionary, but I want to try to push myself a little bit here and give you more of the details on things. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Send me personal emails on what you thought about today's episode, and we can maybe change it for a little bit better. With that being said, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. Check our website out, baldbrad.com. We also have a book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. Check that out. 'Tis the season, folks. Now's a great time to get somebody a gift. With that being said, I'll see you later here on The Bald Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.